Introduction. The spiritual quest begins. Spiritual awakening emerges from the mystical land of India. Paramhansa Yogananda enters the world on January 5, 1893, in Gorakhpur, India. Divine destiny awaits this remarkable soul from the moment of his birth. Cosmic mission to bridge Eastern spirituality with Western pragmatism. Spiritual ambassador carrying India's ancient yogic science to America and beyond. Self-realization becomes his central message to a spiritually hungry world. Transformative journey from curious child to enlightened master unfolds across continents. Mystical encounters with saints, sages, and divine beings fill this extraordinary account. Yogic powers demonstrated throughout his life defy conventional scientific understanding. Divine communion achieved through specific meditation techniques forms the heart of his teaching. Scientific spirituality presented with remarkable clarity for modern minds. Universal message transcending religious boundaries speaks to seekers of all faiths. Timeless classic. First published in 1946, continues to transform lives decades later. Early childhood, the awakening of a master. Bengali heritage provides the cultural foundation for his spiritual development. Devout family of 8 children welcomes Mukunda Lal Ghosh, later Yogananda, as their second son. Spiritual lineage connects his parents to the great yoga master Lahiri Mahasaya. Mother's blessing comes directly from Lahiri Mahasaya, who prophesies she will have a spiritual son. Divine intelligence manifests in young Mukunda from his earliest days. Spiritual sensitivity allows him to perceive subtle realities beyond ordinary consciousness. Cosmic awareness develops naturally without formal training during his childhood. Inner knowing guides him toward his destiny despite conventional expectations. Mystical experiences occur regularly throughout his formative years. Healing abilities manifest spontaneously, often saving him from childhood illnesses. Psychic perception enables him to see auras and energy fields around people and objects. Divine Mother appears to him in radiant visions, nurturing his spiritual growth. Yogic inclinations draw him to meditation for hours while other children play. Family concern about his intense spiritual nature cannot diminish his divine calling. Spiritual hunger drives him to seek deeper understanding beyond conventional religious teachings. Sacred scriptures become his constant companions, studied with remarkable understanding. Divine protection manifests in critical moments, saving him from potential harm. Cosmic connection allows him to communicate with higher realms of consciousness. Spiritual longing for direct experience of God consumes his waking thoughts. Innate wisdom surprises teachers and elders who encounter this remarkable child. Prophetic dreams reveal glimpses of his future mission to people around him. Child Yogi demonstrates extraordinary concentration and spiritual awareness. Internal guidance leads him unerringly toward his destined path. Devotional nature expresses itself through intense love for the divine in all forms. Early detachment from worldly pursuits indicates his special spiritual destiny. Cosmic consciousness occasionally breaks through even in childhood, revealing ultimate reality. The search for a guru, divine longing. Spiritual restlessness intensifies as Mukunda enters his teenage years. Himalayan yearning draws his consciousness toward the sacred mountains. Guru search becomes his all-consuming passion despite familial expectations. Divine discontent with ordinary life propels him toward higher spiritual realizations. Mystical signs appear randomly, confirming he is on the right path. Failed escape to the Himalayas at age 12 demonstrates his determination. Brother's discovery of his secret departure brings him reluctantly home. Father's concern about his spiritual obsession leads to closer supervision. Academic excellence continues despite his primary focus on spiritual matters. Mathematical genius reveals itself alongside his yogic abilities. Scientific curiosity complements his mystical nature, foreshadowing his later teachings. Spiritual literature from various traditions becomes his constant study. Comparative religion interests develop as he recognizes universal truths across faiths. Divine intervention repeatedly guides him toward specific people and places. Synchronistic meetings with spiritually advanced souls nurture his development. Yogic techniques discovered through intuition and occasional instruction. Meditation practice deepens daily, producing tangible changes in his consciousness. Spiritual community sought among like-minded seekers despite his young age. Inner voice provides consistent guidance when external direction is absent. Divine assurance that his guru awaits gives patience during the search. Spiritual frustration occasionally overwhelms him when divine connection seems distant. Cosmic testing of his determination strengthens his resolve. Earthly detachment increases as his consciousness expands beyond physical limitations. Heart connection with the divine sustains him through periods of seeming separation. Spiritual maturity develops far beyond his chronological years. The miraculous encounter, finding Sri Yukteswar. Divine timing orchestrates the perfect moment for master and disciple to meet. Spiritual magnetism draws Mukunda inexorably toward his destined guru. Spontaneous journey to Serampore occurs without conscious planning. Mysterious direction from a stranger guides him to an unknown ashram. Instant recognition floods his consciousness upon seeing Sri Yukteswar Giri. Prophetic fulfillment of an earlier vision confirms this is indeed his master. Spiritual embrace between guru and disciple transcends ordinary human connection. Telepathic communication begins immediately, demonstrating their soul attunement. Past life connection revealed as the foundation of their present relationship. Divine confirmation through internal revelation leaves no doubt in his mind. Spiritual transmission of energy occurs spontaneously during their first meeting. Absolute certainty that his search has ended fills Mukunda with profound peace. Overwhelming joy at finding his spiritual father brings tears to his eyes. Soul recognition of his master happens at the deepest level of his being. Divine orchestration of seemingly random events leading to this meeting becomes clear. Mystical bond forms instantly between guru and disciple, unbreakable by time or space. Complete surrender to his master's guidance happens without reservation. Spiritual lineage connection formally established through this sacred relationship. Guru Prasad offering of his life and devotion marks the beginning of discipleship. Formal acceptance by Sri Yukteswar seals their spiritual connection. Prophetic statements about Mukunda's future mission emerge from the master's lips. Divine heritage acknowledged as Sri Yukteswar reveals their spiritual lineage. Sacred responsibility of carrying ancient wisdom forward is entrusted to him. Spiritual homecoming sensed as he enters his guru's ashram for the first time. Life transformation begins in earnest under his master's careful guidance. Years with the master. Rigorous spiritual training. Spiritual discipline, unlike anything he had imagined, begins immediately. Ashram. Life follows strict routines designed to purify body, mind, and spirit. Yogic practices taught systematically by Sri Yukteswar with scientific precision. Meditation techniques refined through daily practice under expert guidance. Dietary regulations establish the physical foundation for higher consciousness. Sleep reduction trains the body to require minimal rest while maintaining health. Physical purification through specific yogic exercises prepares the subtle body. Mental discipline developed through concentration practices of increasing difficulty. Emotional mastery taught through various tests and challenges from the guru. Spiritual discernment cultivated through analysis of sacred texts and experiences. Psychological insight provided by Sri Yukteswar's penetrating observations. Ego dissolution pursued relentlessly through humility practices and service. Cosmic awareness gradually stabilized through systematic meditation. Divine communion experienced in deepening stages under the master's guidance. Spiritual testing occurs regularly as Sri Yukteswar probes for weaknesses. Intellectual development proceeds alongside spiritual growth through rigorous study. Scientific understanding of yogic phenomena explained in precise detail. Philosophical foundations of yoga illuminated through nightly discussions. Spiritual astronomy reveals the cosmic influences on human consciousness. Subtle anatomy of chakras and nadis mapped through direct experience. Energy control mastered through specific breathing and concentration techniques. Divine grace frequently manifested through Sri Yukteswar's spiritual powers. Absolute obedience expected and given to the guru's every instruction. Perfect guidance received through both verbal teaching and silent transmission. Spiritual brotherhood with fellow disciples provides community and mutual support. Personal flaws addressed directly by Sri Yukteswar without compromise. Loving correction administered precisely when needed for optimal growth. Spiritual acceleration achieved through the intensified environment of the ashram. Expanded perception developed systematically through specific practices. Divine protection constantly present through the guru's spiritual umbrella. Kriya Yoga, the sacred science revealed. Ancient technique preserved for millennia by a lineage of realized masters. Scientific method for accelerating spiritual evolution through energy control. Spinal energy consciously directed through specific breathing practices. Kundalini awakening safely guided through precise yogic methodology. energetic transformation of gross physical elements into subtle spiritual essence. Cerebral perception enhanced through activation of dormant brain centers. Divine communion facilitated through specific Kriya techniques. Pranayama mastery forms the foundation of this comprehensive system. Yogic transmission from guru to disciple maintains the purity of the teaching. Sacred initiation ceremony connects the disciple to the spiritual lineage. Energy circulation through specific pathways awakens dormant spiritual faculties. Astral development proceeds systematically through regular practice. Causal awakening follows as the practitioner advances through higher stages. Cosmic awareness gradually stabilizes as a permanent state of consciousness. Scientific correlation between ancient practices and modern neurophysiology. Practical application of esoteric principles for everyday spiritual living. Meditation depth increases dramatically through proper Kriya practice. Spiritual acceleration compresses centuries of natural evolution into decades. Yogic liberation becomes attainable within a single lifetime through this method. Divine communion experienced directly, rather than merely believed in. Consciousness. Expansion beyond ordinary human limitations becomes possible. Spiritual perception of subtle realities develops naturally through practice. Intuitive knowledge arises spontaneously as Kundalini energy ascends. Cosmic memory accessed through activation of the spiritual eye. Karmic purification accelerated through energetic transmutation. Spiritual magnetism developed through conservation and refinement of life force. Divine attunement with Guru and God achieved through faithful practice. Complete system addressing all aspects of human development, physical, mental, and spiritual. Sacred commitment to daily practice forms the heart of the Kriya path. Miraculous encounters, saints and sages of India. Levitating saint demonstrates yogic powers defying conventional physics. Perfume saint manifests various fragrances at will from his own body. Tiger-fighting Swami displays superhuman strength through yogic control. Sleepless yogi lives for decades without sleeping, contradicting biological necessity. Materializing master creates objects from thin air through yogic siddhi. Healing sage cures terminal illnesses through spiritual intervention. Non-eating saint sustains his body on prana alone without physical food. Immortal master Babaji maintains a youthful physical form for centuries. Cosmic gatekeeper controls access to the Himalayan spiritual brotherhood. Astral projector appears simultaneously in multiple locations to different disciples. Divine seer reveals past, present, and future events with perfect accuracy. Resurrectionist yogi returns from apparent death after several days. Cave dweller meditates in Himalayan seclusion for decades without aging. Thought reader demonstrates perfect telepathic abilities with all he encounters. Weather controller summons or dispels rain through yogic concentration. Animal communicator speaks directly to creatures through mental telepathy. Spiritual alchemist transmutes base metals into gold through mantric science. Wish fulfiller manifests devotees' needs before they are expressed. Disease diagnostician perceives physical imbalances through spiritual sight. Karma reader reveals previous lives and their effects on present circumstances. Living scripture embodies sacred texts through perfect memory and realization. Divine channel speaks wisdom beyond his formal education or experience. Ageless yogi demonstrates physical immortality through complete mastery of prana. Miracle healer cures the incurable through divine intervention. Omnipresent master transcends space-time limitations through yogic siddhi. Spiritual initiator awakens kundalini energy through mere glance or touch. Blessing bestower transforms lives through the power of his word. Sacred presence creates tangible atmosphere of peace affecting all nearby. Divine messenger delivers communications from higher spiritual realms. Wish-fulfilling tree legend confirmed through direct experience. Founding a school, educational innovation. Yogoda system created by Yogananda revolutionizes spiritual education. Educational vision combines ancient wisdom with modern pedagogical methods. Ranchi School, established in 1917, marks the beginning of his institutional work. Holistic approach addresses the development of body, mind, and spirit simultaneously. Educational innovation integrates meditation into traditional academic curriculum. Energy exercises designed specifically for children's physical development. Concentration techniques improve academic performance and mental focus. Character development emphasized alongside intellectual achievement. Spiritual foundation provided through age-appropriate yogic practices. Outdoor education connects students with nature as a spiritual classroom. Energization exercises invented by Yogananda improve health and vitality. Balanced curriculum develops intellectual, physical, and spiritual capabilities. Meditation practice adapted for children's shorter attention spans. Natural environment provides ideal setting for integrated learning. Spiritual community of teachers and students forms around shared ideals. Service orientation cultivated through regular contribution to school and society. Practical skills taught alongside theoretical knowledge for balanced development. Creative expression encouraged through music, art, and dramatic performances. Spiritual disciplines introduced gradually according to individual readiness. Yogic principles applied to everyday activities transform ordinary education. Vegetarian diet supports clear thinking and spiritual development. Scientific understanding of yogic principles presented in age-appropriate ways. Self-control developed through specific yogic techniques and practices. Social harmony emerges naturally from spiritual foundation. Intuitive development nurtured alongside rational thinking capacities. Personal mentoring provided by spiritually advanced teachers. Natural talents recognized and fostered in each individual student. Spiritual potential awakened through appropriate practices and guidance. Educational model attracts attention from progressive educators throughout India. Institutional foundation established for spreading yogic education worldwide. Divine call to America, the westward journey. Prophetic dream reveals Yogananda's mission to America years before it manifests. Divine command from his guru confirms the Western mission as his destiny. Spiritual preparation intensifies as departure date approaches. Boston invitation to represent India at the International Congress of Religious Liberals arrives. Familial opposition to his foreign journey overcome through divine intervention. Financial provision manifests mysteriously at the critical moment. Spiritual blessing from Sri Yukteswar empowers him for the challenging mission. Oceanic voyage provides time for deep meditation and preparation. Cultural transition requires tremendous adaptation and flexibility. Language barrier overcome through supernatural linguistic abilities. Boston arrival in September 1920 marks the beginning of his Western mission. Congress address introduces Eastern yogic philosophy to Western audience. Cultural shock upon encountering American life and customs. Divine guidance provides direction in an unfamiliar environment. Spiritual magnetism attracts the first American disciples almost immediately. Financial challenges test his faith in divine provision repeatedly. Yogic demonstrations convince skeptical Westerners of Eastern wisdom. Scientific explanations of spiritual phenomena appeal to American pragmatism. Lecture invitations begin to arrive from various organizations and institutions. First followers form the nucleus of what will become a worldwide movement. Cultural adaptation without compromising spiritual principles proves challenging. Meditation classes introduce practical spirituality to eager Western seekers. Eastern wisdom presented in terms accessible to Western minds. Divine protection manifests during difficult transitions and travels. Coast-to-coast lecture tours spread yogic knowledge across America. Media attention both helps and hinders the spiritual mission. Skeptical opposition from religious and scientific establishments. Devoted students provide practical support for expanding mission. Yogic techniques adapted for Western lifestyle and understanding. Divine communion experienced by Western students validates the teachings. Self-realization. Fellowship. Organization and expansion. Spiritual organization formally established in 1920 to preserve and disseminate teachings. Institutional structure provides framework for worldwide mission. Legal incorporation secures foundation for expanding spiritual work. Non-sectarian approach welcomes seekers from all religious backgrounds. Organizational name, Self-Realization Fellowship, chosen to emphasize universal message. First headquarters established in Los Angeles, California. Lesson series developed for home study of yogic principles and techniques. Monastic order formed for those called to full-time spiritual life. Initiation ceremonies preserve traditional guru-disciple relationship. Kriya transmission maintained with absolute fidelity to original teachings. Expansion challenges overcome through faith and practical wisdom. Property acquisition provides physical foundation for spiritual community. Mount Washington headquarters becomes International Spiritual Center. Publication department brings teachings to those unable to attend in person. Magazine establishment East-West, later Self-Realization Magazine, spreads message. Spiritual community forms around shared practices and ideals. Organizational framework preserves teachings for future generations. Financial foundation established through publications and contributions. Encinitas Hermitage provides retreat setting for deeper spiritual practice. Pacific Coastline property becomes jewel of the organization. Temple construction begins to accommodate growing number of devotees. Architectural design blends Eastern and Western spiritual aesthetics. Meditation gardens create sacred spaces for contemplation and renewal. Organizational bylaws ensure future adherence to founders' intentions. Leadership training prepares disciples for organizational responsibilities. International expansion begins with centers in various American cities. Spiritual lineage clearly established to ensure teaching authenticity. Organizational principles balance spiritual ideals with practical requirements. Long-term vision guides, development of sustainable spiritual community. Divine guidance sought through meditation for all major decisions. World travels, return to India and beyond. Triumphal return to India in 1935 after 15 years in America. Royal reception from Maharajas and spiritual leaders across India. Spiritual reunification with his beloved guru, Sri Yukteswar. Cross-continental lecture tour spans the length and breadth of India. Cultural ambassador bringing Western efficiency to Eastern spirituality. Educational integration of yogic principles into conventional schools. Spiritual recognition from India's highest religious authorities. Maharaja hospitality provides platforms for addressing influential audiences. England lectures introduce yogic science to British intellectual community. European expansion plants seeds for future growth of yogic teachings. Spiritual diplomacy creates bridges between Eastern and Western thought. Kashmiri mountains provide retreat setting for deep meditation. Sacred pilgrimage to holy sites throughout the Indian subcontinent. Japanese visit expands mission to include East Asian spiritual seekers. Chinese interest in yogic practices transcends cultural differences. Master's farewell as Sri Yukteswar enters Mahasamadhi during this visit. Cosmic initiation into higher spiritual responsibility follows Guru's passing. Divine vision of Sri Yukteswar after death confirms spiritual continuity. Organizational establishment of Yogoda Satsanga Society of India. International bridge between Eastern and Western spiritual organizations. Sacred relics gathered from holy places throughout India. Spiritual treasures returned to America for inspiration of Western disciples. Miraculous protection during dangerous travel circumstances. Divine intervention ensures successful completion of international mission. Prophetic observations about coming world events shared with close disciples. Spiritual foundations firmly established on multiple continents. Global vision of spiritual renaissance through yogic principles. Universal fellowship of East and West creating spiritual harmony. Return journey to America to continue primary mission. Spiritual friendship. Notable relationships. Mahatma Gandhi meets with Yogananda, sharing spiritual and political ideals. Luther Burbank forms deep friendship based on spiritual and scientific interests. Plant communication demonstrated by Burbank confirms yogic principles. President Coolidge grants special interview, recognizing spiritual significance. Nobel physicist discusses complementary nature of science and spirituality. Rabindranath Tagore exchanges poetic and spiritual insights during meetings. Nanda Moyi Ma demonstrates female yogic attainment at highest levels. Therese Newman, Catholic stigmatist, validates universal mystical principles. Jagadish Chandra Bose, pioneer scientist, confirms yogic theories of consciousness in plants. Swami Vivekananda's successor acknowledges complementary missions. Hollywood celebrities seek spiritual guidance despite material success. Business leaders apply yogic principles to commercial enterprises. Medical doctors recognize healing power of yogic techniques. Scientific researchers document physiological effects of yogic practices. Political figures privately seek spiritual counsel for public decisions. Nobel laureates explore consciousness research with yogic framework. Cultural icons find meaning beyond fame through meditation practice. Religious leaders from various faiths recognize universal spiritual truth. Yoga pioneers collaborate to establish authentic teaching lineages. Literary figures find creative inspiration through meditation practice. Psychological innovators incorporate yogic insights into Western therapy. Educational reformers adapt yogic principles for academic settings. Athletic champions discover performance enhancement through yogic techniques. Spiritual seekers from all walks of life transformed through personal guidance. Close disciples form inner circle for transmission of advanced teachings. Monastic devotees dedicate lives to preserving and sharing the teachings. Spiritual friendship extends beyond physical proximity through divine connection. Universal brotherhood demonstrated through relationships across all boundaries. Divine connection transcends ordinary human limitations in all relationships. Compassionate wisdom offered equally to prominent figures and ordinary seekers. Cosmic consciousness, spiritual realizations. Samadhi experience transports consciousness beyond body identification. Cosmic vision reveals underlying unity of all creation. Divine light perceived as the fundamental reality behind physical manifestation. Infinite awareness expands beyond limitations of individual consciousness. Universal mind directly experienced as the source of all individual awareness. Divine bliss indescribable to those without similar experience. Cosmic sound of Aum heard as the vibratory foundation of creation. Inner perception of subtle realms normally invisible to physical senses. Spiritual eye fully awakened, revealing threefold spiritual light. Kundalini ascension completed through all 7 chakras. Causal realization transcends both physical and astral limitations. Divine communion maintained continuously despite external activities. Spiritual omnipresence experienced directly rather than intellectually understood. Cosmic memory access to universal knowledge beyond personal experience. Divine love flows unconditionally toward all beings without distinction. Perfect perception of underlying divine perfection in apparent imperfection. Universal consciousness fully established as permanent realization. Egoic dissolution complete, replaced by cosmic awareness. Divine intelligence operating through purified human instrument. Spiritual omniscience regarding all matters pertinent to divine mission. Perfect attunement with the will of God in all decisions and actions. Liberated consciousness free from karmic compulsions and limitations. Divine guidance received directly through intuitive perception. Spiritual authority established through complete realization. Cosmic responsibility accepted for awakening divine consciousness in others. Universal compassion motivating tireless service to spiritual seekers. Divine wisdom flowing spontaneously in response to sincere questions. Perfect balance of divine consciousness and human functionality. Spiritual mastery demonstrated in all aspects of daily living. Cosmic humor arising from perspective beyond ordinary human concerns. Final years, legacy and Mahasamadhi. Literary focus intensifies as Yogananda completes major written works. Autobiography completion ensures his spiritual journey is preserved for posterity. Organizational consolidation secures institutional foundation for future generations. Advanced instruction provided to closest disciples for teaching continuity. Prophetic warnings about coming world challenges shared with inner circle. Healing miracles continue to demonstrate divine power working through him. Spiritual seclusion periods increase for deeper communion and writing. Public appearances carefully selected for maximum spiritual impact. Divine foreknowledge of approaching Mahasamadhi, conscious exit from body. Final preparations made for organizational transition after his departure. Intimate gatherings with close disciples convey final spiritual instructions. Detailed guidance left for every aspect of continuing the work. Sacred promises about continued spiritual guidance after physical departure. Worldwide organization firmly established to preserve teachings. Mahasamadhi prediction shared with a few closest devotees. Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles becomes a site of conscious exit from body. Public speech presenting vision of spiritual harmony between nations. Final prayer offered for world peace and spiritual awakening. Conscious departure from physical body during perfect health. Miraculous preservation of physical body defies normal decomposition. Scientific wonder as doctors observe body remaining fresh for 20 days. Divine sign confirming yogic mastery over life and death processes. Eternal presence felt by devotees despite physical departure. Spiritual guidance continues through inner communion with disciples. Physical monument established at Forest Lawn Memorial Park. Living legacy continues through worldwide organization and teachings. Divine promise fulfilled through ongoing spiritual guidance to sincere seekers. Organizational expansion continues according to founders' detailed instructions. Global impact increases decades after physical departure. ThriveX, where growth begins.